This is an old Rabbi Shlomo Katz, very old one. Alright, Chavre, thank you so much for joining us tonight. This has been an incredible period of learning the last few weeks leading up to Purim, the parashiyot we've been doing, Vayakal, Pekudei, and Vayikra, and all the other things that have been taking place. It really feels like a very... I can only speak on behalf of myself, but feeling very lucky. Yeah, just very blessed and privileged to be surrounded by people on a daily basis that want to grow is just beyond me. It's really beautiful, special and precious, and it's usually people that admit that they really don't know anything, that are the ones that really want to grow. Rabbi Shlomo's famous Torah of until you remove your old herring from your plate on the table, Hashem can't put new herring on. We've done it many times. So there's a lot of new herring. I don't even eat herring, but there's a lot of new herring on the table the last few weeks. A lot of new herring, and it's been incredible. If it's been that incredible, then that means the tefillah that goes with the learning has to be even more powerful. I want to scream tonight through our learning that the gates of the refuah should open for so many of our dear friends, and specifically for Binyamin, Nachman, Mordechai ben Ilana, Michal Moshe Ze'ev ben Yehudit, for Alter Baruch ben Sarah, for Daniel, this is still, Shlomo Yosef ben Esther, is it? Oh no, that's somebody else. Shlomo Mendel ben Rachel, and for Harav Natan Daniel ben Malka, for Refuah Shlema. Who's Rav Natan's? His birthday should be a schus for an immediate Refuah Shlema. Rav Natan. And also, I want to continue our learning. Lilui Nishmat Miriam bat Eliyahu, Zcharia ben Yaakov, Rebbe Eliezer ben Eliyahu Aryeh, and continuing the month of Adar for my grandmother Chaya Rachel bat Tzvi Hirsch. They should all be Melitze Yosher. They should knock on heaven's door in a way that enables Purim to last all year long for us. Bezrat Hashem. But there should be a complete refuah, we always say refuah shlema. And really, Purim is a refuah shlema. Now, I want to share with you why we're saying that. Sometimes when I want to feel frum, so I'll take a sefer that has like a name like this, like Moadim Vizmanim Hashalem, very straight to the point, and it's all pilpulim and sugiyot. This is written by a huge Talmid Chacham, Rabbi Moshe Sternbuch, who's actually a great grandson of the Gaon of Vilna. So I thought, okay, let's get grounded, let's go into that zone and go into straight space for a little bit as you're gearing up for Purim, because all these Torahs from Rabbi Shlomo are leaving us gavoa 5,000 amah, not 500 amah, 5,000 amah, If the tree for Haman was 50 amah, I don't even know how high. This is not even a tree. It's a dive. It's something that just only has one direction. So Hashem had pulled the Purim on me, and it was v'na'afochu, because what I learned inside this sefer just this week explained to me why Purim is a refuah shlema. There is a whole pilpul. There's a whole. How do you say pilpul in English? Not pilpel, pilpul. Like a back and forth amongst the Rishonim and the Achronim as to what is the mitzvah which we'll read about right before Purim of wiping out Amalek from the world. Who is it on? We would all love to say it's about a certain someone, but we realize that there are many people that are very great candidates for the Amalek of today. There's never been a machzor in that. There's always been plenty of candidates for who Amalek is. However, this sugya doesn't deal with who Amalek is. It deals with what is the real ashkara, the real tzivui to do with Amalek. So one of the questions that was raised here is that we see who lost his kingdom and suffered such a severe punishment for not shechting somebody, for not killing somebody. Shaul HaMelech. Who what? He left, how many people did he leave alive? And yet what happens to him? He's done. But he says over here, wait a second. There are many greats in our tradition. Moshe Rabbeinu, for example, Aaron HaKohen, David HaMelech, who had fights with Amalek. And you see there that they didn't finish them off, and nothing was stripped from them. You realize that? Shaul HaMelech, though, King Shaul, one who's chomel on one of them, he has chemla on one of them, and you're done, Shaul HaMelech. So how could that be? Why is it with other people that didn't wipe out all of Amalek? We don't look at their life in terms of, wow, they didn't get Amalek done. We look at other things in their life. So this Rav, who's a great grandson of the Gra, says to me the most Baal Shem Tov kind of word in the world. He says, when you don't have the possibility to completely conquer something, when you don't have the possibility to do a shlema, to do a complete thing on something, to totally switch something over, then they don't look at you in Shemayim in terms of judging you and saying, you could have done the whole thing. You couldn't have conquered everyone. David HaMelech, Moshe Rabbeinu, back then in their times, there wasn't a possibility in the moment to completely annihilate Amalek. So he says that if you're not able to completely annihilate Amalek, if it's not in your possibility, you're not stand judged for it. When are you stand judged? When you're able to finish the job and you don't. Now listen how deep this is. All year long, forget all year long. Let's jump 30 days from this Sunday. 30 days from this Sunday, we'll be sitting around the Seder table. It's pretty freaky, no? No? I'm sorry, everyone's freaking out. We didn't even say anything then. That usually happens later in the shit. Everyone's freaking out already. No. 30 days from this Sunday, where's, Kadesh Urchatz. It's crazy, right? 6 months. No, don't worry. But in 30 days, we're ready by Pesach. And by Pesach, the anxiety attacks, which I look at it right now, they make us mishuga. Are we going to get the job done or not, right? And I heard a great word from Reb Chaim Kramer, the head of Breslov Research Institute. He said something beautiful, which calmed the daylights out of me before a Seder about 5-6 years ago. He said, in the Seder night, there are so many mitzvahs. There's so many different parts to the Seder. There's so many different things and so many dikdukei halachot that have to do with really making sure that your Seder is kadat v'chadin and that your Pesach is a chag kasher v'sameach. Why don't we necessarily say on Purim it should be a chag kasher v'sameach? That's for another shiur. But it's worth thinking about. The tikkun could be to actually say on Purim, with all the learning we're doing, to actually say, to come to the conclusion that you're supposed to wish each other Chag Kasher v'Sameach. Why? Reb Chaim Kramer says that on Pesach, because it's like infinite amount of stuff that you could do so much, there's so many things, and a person could lityaesh, could despair very easily, very fast. So he said, listen, take one of the inyanim of the Seder plate. Take one of the things you're going to learn during the Haggadah. Take one of the halachas. Show Hashem you're putting your whole heart and soul into it. Keep everything else, but make sure you take one of them till the end, and that'll be your own little favorite part of the night. Go into Pesach like that. You know what the problem with Purim is? This is not to break anyone's heart. On Purim, it's either everything or nothing. On Purim, you're either in or you're out. It's like and we can understand now how Purim could be even holier than Yom Kippur. Because on Yom Kippur, who knows if they're in or not, right? I'm still stuck in Da'at land. Did God forgive me or not? I don't know. So I run to deal with the sukkah, so I don't think about it too much. Chazal were brilliant. I run to start building a sukkah so that I don't sit at home wondering, did the mincha, did the ashamnu of mincha really work? No, the ashamnu of shachris the bagadnu of shachris was really strong, but maybe he'avinu of ma'ariv was strong. If we didn't have mitzvahs to be dealing with, we'd be sitting Motzei Yom Kippur pondering the whole time, did it work or did it not work? So on Purim, I don't get stuck in that whole balagan of does it work or does it not work. You know why? Because when you're in the Ad Lo Yada, you don't even care if it worked or not. And when you stop caring if it worked or not, That's the real hachana for Pesach, to be a ben chorim, to be free. To be free of the dat, to be free of eitz hadat, to be free of the way which we normally, generally judge others, and unfortunately judge ourselves as well. Did it work or not? Did I complete it or not? On Purim, the whole inyan of Mechias Amalek is not to try to get a good job done. It's that you have one day a year. You have one day a year to really finish the job. You know, when it comes to tshuva, so you have the tshuva of Elul, it's a whole month, then you have Rosh Hashanah, then you have Aseret Tshuva, then you have Yom Kippur. It's a whole build-up with all different parts and to the whole story, the whole ball game. However, here, and we like we said last night, right now we're in the Aseret Tshuva of Purim. And the tshuva of Purim is a tshuva shlema me'ahava. Tshuva shlema me'ahava. I'm doing complete tshuva out of love. This is what it means that we re-accepted the Torah in the times of Shushan Abir, the story of Mordechai and Esther. The acceptance of the Torah was with such ahava, and when there's such ahava, then the zdonos, nasin, lokischuyos, the averas then become mitzvahs. It's a whole different operation. It's not just that God forgave you, now you can start over again. It's that not only did God forgive you, your mistakes were the highest things you ever did in your life. It changes the whole ballgame. It changes everything around. So Rav Sternbuch says that's why Shaul was judged so carefully over there. Why? Because when you have a chance to cross over, which means wiping out Amalek completely, and you don't, then you're really achray. Then you're really responsible. If you're not really able to cross over, if you have a holiday with so many mitzvahs and so many different things, you have to make sure this is taken care of, this is taken care of. What do you have to take care of on Purim? Don't tell me Shalach Manis. Shalach Manis isn't, let's be, to be halachically yotzei, Shalach Manis, piece of apple and a mazonos. Come on. What hachanas do you have to have? Costume? There's no chiyuv. Unless you're Yoni Berg. There's no chiyuv for costumes. It's no real chiyuv. You have to hear Megillah. And you have to give some gelt to poor people. And you have to give someone an apple peel and an orange. And nebuch, you have to sit and dine and wine. Oy, mamish, so hard. It's the chance of all chances to do something complete. And that only happens once a year. To mamish go over to them.
It's what I heard Shlomo say once in a recording where he says, on Pesach I'd always wish everyone a freilich in Pesach, but on Purim I'd always wish them a kasher in Purim. Because he says, everyone's going to have the Simcha in Purim. The question is the Simcha kosher Simcha? Do you take it to the right place, to Mechiat Amalek, to whatever, to the right places? And on Pesach everyone's going to be kosher to the Dikdukim. Do you have the Simcha of Purim in Pesach as well?
He obviously mastered the secret of what all the Rebbes were talking about Purim. I want to say over something that we said last night, which a lot of people have I saw that a lot of people need to hear this again, including myself. There's a pasuk in the Megillah that defines the whole avoda of Purim. What's that pasuk? Verabim me'amei haaretz mityahadim. That many of the peoples of the land became Jewish. Why? Kinafal pachad haYehudim aleim. Because the fear of Yidden went on them. Why? Because they saw, here's a people that actually utilize the power of prayer. Look what prayer does. Look what prayer mamish does. Look what tefillah does. And when some people see the power of prayer, no one has nothing on you. You got nothing on you. There's nothing you can do. So that's what happened. People saw the power of prayer. Nafal pachad haYehudim aleim. They're like, wow, I got nothing. But let's for a second say, right now, that it means something else. And this is very important. It does, like we learned last night, it doesn't just mean that the nations of the world started converting. The tzaddikim say that on Purim, Jews converted to Judaism. That there was hitiyahadut. V'rabim me'amei haaretz mityahadim. Ki nafal pachad haYehudim aleim. Yidden became Yidden. Jews became Jews on Purim, which is a much greater miracle on a certain level than converts becoming Jewish. Because a Jew never feels the need to become Jewish. Why? I am already Jewish. And yet we're seeing, we've been stuck in such a balagan of Eretz Yisrael, Yiddishkeit for so long, because people that are born Jewish take it, they think, okay, I'm Jewish, I don't have to become Jewish. Which is why the Ishbitzer explains, obviously, that Parshat Yitro, the Parsha of Aseret HaDibrot, of the giving of the Torah, is named after a ger. Because the Ishbitzer says clearly, if you're not willing to become Jewish, as a Jew, you have no idea what Yiddishkeit is about. You have no idea why God gave you the Torah in the first place. What does it mean that a Jew becomes Jewish on Purim is what I want to talk about tonight. Last night we did it, an incredible piece from the Sochat Shover, explaining how each one of the mitzvahs of the day helps us become Jewish. Daniel, can you unplug? I should have done this before. Can you just unplug the phone, the socket? Thank you. And I'll be sending that out tomorrow, maybe even late tonight. But definitely kedai to look at that piece from the Sochat Shover, explaining how we became, those of you that were there last night. So as we began last night's learning, we said over a story that I want to say again right now. Another story with names which we usually don't mention. It's amazing. Last week we started talking about Reb Shimshon Raphael Hirsch and Rav Soloveitchik, and tonight we're going to be talking about two other names which we don't really talk about. Reb Chaim Sonnenfeld and Reb Isser Zalman Meltzer. Remember the story from last night? In my opinion, one of the best stories I've ever heard in my life. One of the best stories I've ever heard in my life. The story is that Reb Isser Zalman Meltzer, these are two of the greatest greats that lived in the earlier part of the 20th century. Talking not just Rashish, not just Talmidei Chachamim, in terms of midot, in terms of the characteristic traits, we're talking about giants. Two different schools of thought, but a lot of common ground. Reb Isser Zalman Meltzer knew that Reb Chaim Sonnenfeld had a big flirt with mikvahs. He was just nuts over mikvahs, always toveling. I have a lot of friends like that. He's driving somewhere, doesn't matter to where, they see a place you can tovel, you could immerse yourself in a mikvah, you'd go for it. So this Reb Isser Zalman Meltzer, it wasn't his thing so much, and he stopped Reb Chaim Sonnenfeld, and he asked him, Reb Chaim, come on, what's your trip with, he didn't say what's your trip with mikvahs, but however he said it, he's like, well, what's your mishigas with toiveling all the time, with immersing yourself? A man, do we have any chiyuvim as men to even tovel in a mikvah today?
Once a year.
But on a regular Tuesday in March? No. So, Reb Chaim Sonnenfeld said an amazing thing. He said to Reb Isser Zalman Meltzer, look, if when a non-Jew becomes Jewish, they have to dip in a mikvah, and dipping in a mikvah is what actually makes them a yid. It's an integral part of making them a yid. How much more so does a yid become Jewish when he tovels in a mikvah? How much more so does a Jew, when he tovels in a mikvah, does he become more Jewish? You see, if a non-Jew needs a mikvah in order to become Jewish, that act of becoming a yid was through a mikvah, essentially. That's like we know, that's the final, that's the real deal. So we say, that's for a goy to become Jewish. It doesn't really do anything to us, really. That's the power of water. That's the power of Mayim Chaim. That's what God had in mind when He created the concept of mikvaot. Reb Chaim Sonnenfeld says, I want to become a yid. I want to become Jewish. And it has to be that there's something about this which makes us Jewish over and over again. Our mikvah of the year is Purim. There is no greater mikvah in the year than the mitzvahs that I have to do and what transpires within my neshama through going through the holiday of Purim. Nothing closer. Now I want to mention something before we get lost in the learning and before we get lost in the Seudah. I'm just begging everyone, it's it's kedai. You have to do Hisbodedus on Purim day. There's so much going on, but you really have to find 15, 20 minutes when you're alone. It doesn't matter when it is. Even during the Seudah, if you could do it, that's the highest. Put your phone away because you'll be tempted to start making those Purim calls, like we said last few weeks. Calling people you didn't talk to in 2 years, telling them how much their existence makes you feel alive. Put the phone away. Don't do it then. Do your thing. Do whatever it is. But treat your neshamas to a real mikvah, to a real emes dika mikvah. And that happens on Purim. It's once a year when that takes place. Nothing is stronger than that. Rabbi Shlomo has thousands of teachings on Purim. Ein sof. The Rebbes go on and on and on. The Torah Sheba'al Peh of Purim it itself is a chag of Torah Sheba'al Peh, right? But the oral law which comes out, the teachings which come out on Purim is Ein sof. Through each of the 4 mitzvot hayom of Purim, through each of the 4 mitzvahs of the day, there is an own, like, chagiga of tahara, our own celebration of purification. Like through each, what do I have to do Purim? I have to do 4 things, like we said. I have to hear Megillah. I have to give matanot le'avyonim. I have to give gifts to the poor. I have to give mishloach manot to each other. And I have to have a seudah. Chayav inish lebesumei bepuria ad lo yada. A person's chayav. It's not like, if I find a seudah, it's good for me, and if not, I won't. A person is chayav for seudah. Now what happens is that Reb Shlomo takes each one of those mitzvahs. Last week in Yerushalayim we saw it through Mikvah Megillah. 2 weeks ago in Yerushalayim we saw it through the Seudah. Tonight, what I want to do is I want to learn a piece. It's actually a combination of 2 or 3 pieces. Some of us that have been learning for a while already have seen some of these pieces all over the place. But this is a Torah that needs to be learned every single Purim. And it has to do with something that I felt actually this morning when I walked into shul. When I walked into shul this morning, I got a lot of chalishus hadas, which means I got a lot of a weakening of the mind. Why you've actually made it to minyan? Why you have chalishus hadas? What are you so sad about? I said because I walked inside and I was like, when was the last time that I said Ma tovu ohalecha Yaakov Mishkenotecha Yisrael, which is a pasuk you're supposed to say when you walk into a shul. How beautiful is the dwellings of your house, Jacob, your tents, Jacob, your dwellings, Israel. It's supposed to be a shut thing that you have this chus to go into a shul. It's actually supposed to mean something more than just, I could say that I made it to minyan. It's actually supposed to mean a lot more than that. A lot more than that. When I was in shul, I said to Ibn Shlem, I said, no one was there yet, maybe there was one person there. And I said, is it really possible to get high off the fact that I do something every single day? Like, am I just leading myself up for disappointment? You know, the tzaddikim talk about always the hitlavut through the hitchatshut, the enthusiasm through the hitchatshut, the renewal of mitzvahs, making it feel like it's new. Bechol yom yu beinecha kachadashim. But is there anything in me that really feels that it's possible to really, literally be excited from that which I do every day? Every day. Why is it that man was kind of designed in a way that it's only those things that happen once in a blue moon, those are the things that really excite me? And I went into davening with a really weird, I was in a weird zone. I knew I kind of had a thought that we were going to learn what we're going to learn tonight, but I'll just share with you something very personal. You know, sometimes we learn the highest things in the world, and while we're learning them, when I'm still in control of my da'at, when I don't let go, the whole time I'm wondering, do you really think this is possible? It's only the times where you let go of these kind of questions that you realize it already is possible. While you're thinking, if you're stuck in the question, is it possible? That's a guaranteed no. Because that answer, is it possible to live these Torahs? It's not a question. When you let go of wondering, is it working or not, and you're already there, you don't need to ask the question because you know where you are. So tonight, what we're about to learn right now makes Jewish people Jewish. It's Lihit Yahadut. It's Verabim mi Anshe Efrat, Yerushalayim, Modi'in, Mevochoron, Neve Daniel. Verabim mi Bnei Ameinu Mityahadim. Why? I guess Ki Nafal Pachad HaYudim Aleim, because I'm so freaked out about where I could reach. My own Pachad. Ki Nafal Pachad HaYudim. Oh my God. This is who I could become? My own, I can't believe it. This could actually be me. This could actually be me. So first of all, I give us all a bracha that we should have a safe journey through Purim. A really safe one. And that tonight's learning should be a real help for all those things that aren't fully done. There should be shleimut to all the actions that are actually been lingering for many years. People that have been sick, getting better, getting not, but no, enough. The whole thing. People that took on a million things, they ever finish what they took on. And then when we don't finish what we take on, we start thinking we're fake. Chaku, there's a day to finish it all, to get it all done. How do we know this? It says, Kimu v'kiblu haYehudim et asher echelnu la'asot. The Jews took upon themselves that which they took upon. The Jews finally did that which they took upon themselves on Mount Sinai, meaning accepting the Torah out of love. How many years are between Har Sinai and the story of Purim? Approximately 950 years. So if they could actually complete something which they began 950 years prior, as far as I know, no one in this room is over 48. Good Purim. Therefore, I said good Purim? Therefore, let's stop kidding ourselves with time. Absolutely shtuyot. Time is absolutely meaningless. That's the power of Purim. It's this jump of kvitzas hazman, kvitzas haderech, like you never believed in a million years. Where a person, what usually takes people in normal days, years and years and years of doing, on Purim, Rabbi Shlomo always says, you could do it right away. Levels you could reach right away. That's how powerful the Itzumo Shel Yom is. Like we said at Yom Kippur, Itzumo Shel Yom mechaper. That the power of the day itself, whether you did tshuva or not, the power of the day itself brings kapara, brings forgiveness, brings compassion unto you. So too, Itzumo Shel Purim metaher. The power of Purim, the day itself, opens up Sharei Tahara, gates of purification, like we could never imagine. Purim is the day of remembering to never, ever limit what God can do. Which actually means I'm finally going to start believing in Him. Because that's what Emunah is in the first place. Alright, so pass these around. This is one of the most important Torahs in the world. And I want us all to please have those names we said in the beginning of Shiur. To please, while we're learning it, to every once in a while, just remember these names and just scream them out. Shmi refuot shlemot. Complete refuah is not just a few good signs which we're compromising on. Total refuah. So this is a few pieces together, but it's really, the Torah is a few pieces together. It's really one long, beautiful piece. And we'll do as much as we can tonight, okay? Did it reach it back? Good. Alright, good. Alright. Rabbi Shlomo asks like this: what is Shalach Manas really all about? And here I want you to open your heart 1,000,000 miles deep. Everybody knows that the miracle of Purim was a completely different miracle. Miracles which happen, like the splitting of the sea, are completely out of nature, and they wipe you out. And we'll understand in a minute what he means when he says that those kind of miracles wipe you out. On Purim, everything was in the frame of nature. So what's so special about things that don't blow your mind and seem to be normal, part of the way things usually are? So again, this is a classic chiluk that everyone speaks about, the difference between the miracle of Purim and other holidays like Pesach, is that what miraculous thing we say, it was a nes, we say ala nisim on Purim. Ala nisim on Chanukah I could kind of understand that because of the oil, but what was such a miracle of Purim? And we refer to such a holiday. We mamish did avoda, like the Sukkot Shover was saying yesterday, on the 3 levels of Dibur, Machshava, and Maaseh, thought, action, and speech. Those are the 3 garments of the soul, like the Alter Rebbe explains throughout Tanya. In this world I act based on my thought, based on my speech, and based on my action. Hopefully they really work together beautifully. Like we say Friday night, Sof Maaseh, Machshava Tchila. I should already have an image of what I want to come out, tachlis, in this world when I start thinking about things. Purim is the time of utmost purification of thoughts. So, what was so deep about Purim? Okay, I can understand Pesach, Shvi Shel Pesach. Forget Shvi Shel Pesach, Rishon Shel Pesach, Leil Pesach, Vahi B'chatzi Halayla, V'Hashem Yikav Kol Bechor. Miracles beyond our wildest dreams. Purim, different type of miracle. What happened on Purim? We fasted, we cried, we davened our hearts out, and the decree was nullified. And those of Enafochu. You know, so Rabbi Shlomo says like this, you know what the holiness of nature is? That it is always. The holiness of way out miracles is that it blows your mind, which is very holy. But the godliness of nature is the most godlike manifestation of nature is that it is always. Meaning there's kvia v'kaima, there's netzach there, there's eternity. We'll explain this in a second. If you're not so holy, then you're most reminded of God by things which happen once in 2,000 years. But if you're mamish close to God, then it's on the level of always. This is when everything reminds you of God. You see, many people, in order to be turned on, so they have to study Bible codes and get blown away by saying, oh my God, wow, that happens, or things like that. It's nice, it can like oil the Emunah batteries a little bit, but that's not going to give you new batteries. It's not. It's nice. We need something much, much, much deeper. We don't need Kriyas Yamsuf, we need Purim. Because Kriyas Yamsuf happens once in eternity, as far as, well, so far, it's happened once. Well, actually, kind of twice with Yeshua, but really it happened on a monumental scale. It happened one time only. What can I do with those things that happen once in life? I'm supposed to wait for them to happen again? Are we Jews waiting again for the miracle of 1948 to take place? What is it? You do that to your children? Are we waiting for 67 to take place? Are we waiting for Milchemet HaMifrat, the Gulf War to take place, where all these rockets are falling in the middle of... I was already in Israel, then we made Aliyah in 89. This happened in 91, right? January 91. And we lived in Ranana. Our building shook. We were shaking. Pieces of, well, not a Scud, but the Defender, the Patriot. The Patriot missiles, which really didn't, whatever. They fell in my school. Like, it was really mamish in our face. The buildings were shaking. The miracles which took place then. Those things, so you see, kind of, it's almost like Am Yisrael has made like nature out of miracles. But it's not supposed to be like that. Kadosh Baruch Hu says, if I don't need to use miracles, we have a klal, that if God doesn't need to use miracles, He doesn't. Why? Because you think God needs miracles? He wants miracles, that which should be miracles to turn you on to? And we'll get to how this Ramish is about relationships too. You know how sad it is when people need always the extravagant things to take place, the beyond this world gifts in order to really show the love and all. This is an obvious. This is where we're heading to with this thing. But the miracle through Teva, through nature, is so much more beautiful. It's like a really weird thing to say it. But do you realize that today's miracle, which took place today, is greater than the crossing of the Red Sea? What miracle am I talking about?
Rain.
What's that?
Rain.
What
else?
Living in Israel.
Existence. You name it, fill in the blank. The miracles which took place today, on a godly level, they're greater than the crossing of the Red Sea. Kfira, Apikoros is talking again. There he goes again. It's heretic hour in Efrat. No, but this is Pashut. This is like, we'll see what that means in a second. I'll tell you something very deep. I'm putting on this next paragraph. I'm putting on tefillin every day. I'm davening 3 times a day. And what about learning? The utmost of holiness in the world is learning. Learning takes place day and night, always, always. V'yigisa bo yomam v'layla. Day and night. The greatest test is not what you can do once a year, like blowing your mind on Yom Kippur. The question is not how much you're turned on by the miracles which are beyond nature, but rather, how do you relate to those things in life which are on the level of always? See, we always wonder, like Rabbi Shlomo said, or we should always wonder, at least once a day, what does God think of me? It's so important to stop once in a while and really ask yourself. Rabbi Shlomo said this a few times. You ever stop and wonder, like, not am I a Rasha or a Tzaddik, not those things, but like, when God looks down at what He created and He sees my fill-ins and add-ons with this partnership called man and God, well, what does God think of me? Like, when we think of certain people, we have an image of them, like, oh, they're goofy, or oh, they're deep, or they're wise, they're brilliant. It's the same thing, so to speak, on the closeness. Like, what does Hashem think about me when He thinks about me? What comes up in God's mind, so to speak, when He thinks about me? So, Reb Shlomo is saying over here, if you want to like be on that side where when God thinks of you, He's like, that's one of mine. That's one of my, not everyone's one of His, but that's one of my top holy Chabad houses that I opened up down here. Like, that's one of the real ones that gets it, what it means to be in this world. It's usually those people, Reb Shlomo was saying, it's those people that understand that God really doesn't want miracles in order to turn us on to Him. It's to see God in everything and in everyone on the level of always. I know people, 1 or 2 of them are in this room, that actually really do, they get high off the things that aren't always in their life. Purim, so again, like this morning in Shul, I was like, is that really possible? Is it really possible to walk into Shul every morning and feel like I'm lucky and that this is special and there's something ridiculously amazing about this right now? So the answer is yes, but the answer is what's the headquarters? Like, where does it start? When do the gates for that feeling truly open? Purim, which makes Purim the holiest day of the year. Holiest day of the year. We're 4 lines to the bottom of the paragraph. A lot of people are good friends to the whole world, but not to their own wives, because their relationship to their wives is on the level of always. But the thing is, they never tuned into the holiness of always, which is the utmost holiness there is. One time, I'll never forget this. I saw a performer somewhere in the world be on stage, get off stage, hugging, kissing everyone. Everyone was so, the youth, they're so into this guy, and he was really blowing people's minds. It was amazing. And he was like, wow, look at this guy has a koch. When we were sitting in the dressing room, he had told my manager that he's like, yeah, whatever, I slipped. I smacked my wife the other week because, like sometimes you have to, she knows my limits. I was wondering, I wanted to say to him, can you ever, ever, ever imagine smacking someone who you just had a Yam Suf experience with? No. What are you talking about? I'm telling you, I'm shaking till today when I remember that person speaking like that. It's like a reality. We have, that's a crazy extreme. But there is this concept of I'm really big with the world. And with the world, I walk around, I have friends all over the place, and everyone loves me, everyone does that. But those things, which are always in my face, have no specialness. They don't really mean that much to me. Why? Because it's always there. And when something's always there, because I'm used to it, it can't mean that it has that much value. Again, this is a very holy concept, but it's very simple, what we're saying right now. It's deep, but it's the most simple depth in the world. what we're learning tonight. And here we come to the depths of Shalach Manas. There are all types of gifts in the world. I can buy somebody a house in Bermuda and make them feel so lucky. So if Purim is so holy and so special, why don't we save up all year to buy our friends the most extravagant gifts on Purim? And we've already had this discussion of the Beverly Hills Shalach Manas many times in this shiur and other shiurim. Or, whatever, 5 Towns Shalach Manas. There's all these different things. That's what it should be. If Purim is so special, so holy, what should I do? I should prepare the most holiest, most extravagant thing in the world. If there's such kedusha in the mitzvah of a day like Purim. And it's like Chazal was so deep. They said to us, listen, not only you shouldn't, but really don't go nuts with anything besides one thing. Only go nuts with normalcy. Only go nuts with those things that are natural. Go nuts in the mundane. Because it's a lot easier to get much deeper in the mundane than any other time of the year, because that's always. So Rabbi Shlomo says like this, but when I give somebody an apple and a piece of cake on Purim, do you know what that means? It means that on the deepest depths, our connection to each other makes me want to give you gifts day and night. That's the truth. If I had enough guts to tell you what imagine right now, maybe there's someone in this room that there's someone they feel really close to. And you see each other once a week when you're here, or whatever it is, once every few weeks. And imagine if, tonight when they came to shiur, you gave them a simple gift or something. You say, listen, I had a chocolate bar this morning that was so yummy. And when everything beautiful goes into me, I immediately think about you, because that's what real beauty is supposed to do in the world. So I got you an extra chocolate bar this morning. You'd move 5 seats away, probably, right? And you'd email me later, and it's a pretty weird thing, right? No, what's weird, sad, and pathetic is that those things freak us out. That's the bilbul of Olam Hazeh. That's the sheker. Can I embarrass you guys for a second? I know. That's why I said. Can I do it this time? So listen. A few years ago, I learned something very, very great from you guys. I didn't tell you this. We went over to your house for Shabbos lunch, and a few days after Shabbos, you invited us again to come for Shabbos lunch, because you didn't care that that's not what people normally do, and we came again. Bina, do you remember this? It was the.
Jeremy said, I can't believe when Shlomo and Bina lived in the Beit Daniel, why didn't we invite them for Shabbos lunch? I said, Jeremy, if we would have invited them again for Shabbos lunch, they would have taken out
Right. No, but I'm telling you, who invites people 2 Shabbos in a row? Who does that, right? Do you know what kind of reshimu that had on me? I'm not kidding. I'm not embarrassing you. This is a very deep thing. Because the world has it that you go through the rotations, and then when you turn down a lunch when you think it's too close time between the last lunch you had, because you want to make it feel special. Do you know how special those 2 weeks, the second one was? It was so special. It was so special, but you see, that, what does that take? It takes to stop thinking to do something wacko like that. In a very holy way, it takes to stop measuring and judging. Did enough time pass? Are we ready to sit with them? Will we have what to talk about or not? Will the conversation flow or not? If there's love, there's love. Vegamarno. Now let's get serious again. That's why Purim is the most serious day in the world. It's the most serious day in the whole year. Because you know how serious you have to be when it comes to love? Really, on a deep level of seriousness. What happened there with those 2 Shabbos in a row is what the whole thing of Purim is all about. That was just a really perfect example. So that's not Bermuda. That's not the one Shabbos a year thingy. What if Tehillah? What if you cook the same things as Shabbos before? Who cares? It's not about these things. So Rabbi Shlomo says, how do I show somebody that I want to give them gifts all the time? That's see, I do want to show someone, like, if it was really up to me, I'd invite you every Shabbos, but okay, I can't, for whatever the reason is, I don't invite you every Shabbos, but one day a year, it's as if I invited you every Shabbos of the year. See, that's what Purim is. It's the one day a year that through certain mitzvahs that I do, like Shalach Manas, what my actions are really saying is that if it was up to me and I didn't care about the way society works, I would invite you to my house every week, and I'd give you the most simple, beautiful things every day. Because everything that's beautiful in the world reminds me of our connection, our relationship. And when that exists, you don't need anything extravagant. Nothing has to be special in worldly eyes. The hug, the smile, the everything, the always is so beautiful and special. Not by buying them a house in Bermuda, but by giving them an apple. Because let's face it, I only want to give them that which I'm actually able to give. Meaning, when I see someone and I want to give them a gift, so I want to be able to not just say, oh, how I wish I could give you a gift. I actually want to stand behind my word and give you that which I know I can give you. I can't give you Bermuda every day. Unless I'm Rothschild, or like he would say, or millionaire. But you know what happens to millionaires? Do you know how boring Bermuda every day becomes? Because it becomes the always. It becomes the things I do all the time. Going out to eat means nothing. Buying a new car, those things stop meaning anything. They could, but they mean nothing because it becomes part of this is what I do all the time. But Rabbi Shlomo is saying here something so deep. I give you an apple and an orange to show you how much I love you. Do you know why? I wish I could give you the world every day. But this is something that I know I can give you every day. So therefore, I'm going to give you that which at least this I know I could afford to give you every day. And that, when it's received with an open heart, that means more to you than any gift in the world. Anything. Anything. That means that on Purim, we're so close to each other that suddenly we realize that we are always friends. And we are always with the Ribono Shel Olam. On Purim, we realize that whether we like it or not, we are always learning. Now, this is a very deep line what he just said here. To explain this a bit deeper, I think I shared this with some of you a few years ago when we moved we moved a few times since we're married. So I was talking to a friend of mine the night that we were packing up the house, and it was the year. It was after we just got married. Baruch Hashem, we had our oldest daughter the first year. We brought our Bechorah home on our anniversary, on our first anniversary. So, needless to say, it was kind of a busy year. It was a lot going on. It was incredible. It was magical. It still is magical. It still exists. It's not like once it was. It's still magical. And I said to my friend, I said, the only regret I have in this place is that I didn't learn enough. Like, I didn't say that to sound holy, but like that year, I didn't spend as much with the Sfarim as much time as I really would have liked to, or as I should have. He said to me, stop talking shtuyot. You think you didn't learn every second of this first year of your marriage and the first year you became an Abba? That every moment in life wasn't learning? See, what's the problem? How do we refer to learning? When I take a sefer off the shelf and I start learning. And this, what I'm about to say, is God forbid not to belittle actual Talmud Torah. But it's to give us a boost in life. To those of us who think that we're not really seriously religious because we don't sit and learn all the time. You know what I realized on Purim? When Chazal told us, Ve'higita bo yomam v'layla, that you should be learning Torah day and night, you think they meant that you're supposed to be learning with the Sefer all day long? You're supposed to be in the world as well. But whoever said that the concept of learning ever stops? On Purim I realize that as long as I'm alive and I'm aware that God exists, I'm learning all the time. On Purim I realize I am an always Jew. I am always learning. I'm connected to those things that are always taking place, whether I believe in it or not, whether I'd like to admit it or not. I am always connected. Like, I always say this mashal, and I'm going to say it again, because it's so perfect. I just quoted this in front of the person I heard it when I was in LA. My friend David Sachs about the people in the restaurant. Remember this one? Not so much? it's not a good sign, but I probably said it 20 times, but this is a good one. The two people, you know what it means, two people that are debating whether God exists or not. It's like two people that go to a restaurant and each of them gets served a dish. One loves what he got served and one really hates it. So the person that doesn't like his dish, he comes to the conclusion, he says, you know what? I hate this meal so much, I'm denying the existence of the cook. So you could deny the existence of the cook until tomorrow, but someone put that's like saying, I really don't like this table, I deny its existence, right? So if we say that's ludicrous when it comes to these things, what about that thing called life, which is a bit more valuable than tables or dishes or anything like that? On Purim I realized that while I was busy contemplating whether God exists or not, or how much he loves me, or how much I'm the chosen nation, or how much I should learn Torah, all those things, I'm not really sure if I'm fully in it or not. Sometimes I'm into it, sometimes I'm not. On Purim I realized, who am I kidding? I was always there. Who am I kidding? I was always into it. These outer shells might have expressed some kind of like discomfort, but come on. The always things, those things which always exist, yeah, it's hard to be on fire for God. You know why? Because it's hard to be on fire for those things that are always there. But on Purim, it's the easiest. That is the whole inyan of Purim. The holiday of Purim, the mitzvahs that I do, the story that I read, and the place I get to in the Seudah, that's what the whole purpose is. So the whole point is to take me to that place to show me, ma pitom. It was always there. I was always learning. I was always close. Come on, when a couple gets drunk, so when what happens when they reach the ultimate place of the intoxication? You know, a zivuk will look at each other and they'll start crying, bursting up, begging for Megillah for all those moments they might have caused the other to think, maybe I don't love you. Why? Because they're tuning into the always. And what's more always than living with another person? Nothing. It's the most always in the world on a human level. It's always, 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 always. Always in each other's faces. That's the beauty of Purim. Purim is Shalom Bayis. Rabbi Shlomo said this, the tzaddikim say this, the holiday of Purim is the biggest day for Shalom Bayis, because is there anything more always and constant than the need to work on Shalom Bayis? Never. If someone asks you, how's your marriage, and you say, oh, we have a really good marriage, if you really have a good marriage, you don't say those words. Oh, we're really together, really one. You don't say it. You can't even say those words. It's so beyond that. Those words don't mean anything. I hope I never asked anyone in this room how their marriage is. It's also a stupid question. You don't ask anybody how your marriage is. How are you? How's your marriage? Stupid. And I'll tell you something even deeper. We can go a few more minutes? It's okay? Okay. And no one said okay, but I'm still going to go on a few minutes. And I'll tell you something. You said of course, not okay. See? Of course it's like I'm having good mannerisms, so I'll tell you yes. But okay. I love you. It's Purim. It's a lot of seriousness tonight. I have to. And I'll tell you something even deeper. When a stranger comes to my house to meet with me, I get dressed up all Shabbos, Dick, right? I do change. But imagine one of my best friends comes over, and I'm standing in the kitchen making herring. Again, he's with the herring, and cutting onions. I don't have to stop doing anything when he walks in. I continue cutting the onions, you see? On Shabbos and on Yom Kippur and Yom Tiv, I'm very close to God. And here he says something crazy, but not that close. You have to stop what you're doing. You have to get out of your business and change what you normally wear. On Purim, I'm so close to the Ribono Shel Olam. I'm doing my thing. I'm riding in a car. I'm writing letters. I'm giving someone apples. And yet this reaches deeper than anything in the world. That, to me, is the highest. That makes me want to soak Purim in, like, forever, you know? That last paragraph. Friends, sometimes we learn the Torah of always through the ugliest way. There was some Yidlach in Germany who said, if I convert, I'll be a goy. Here comes the Germans and say, hey, listen, your grandmother was Jewish. There's nothing you can do. You're always a Jew. You have to go in the gas chambers. I'm always a Yidla, but then I made myself a little bit higher. Why should I be an always Yidla only when it's in comparison to a Goy? Don't wait for an enemy to remind you who you really are. And that's exactly today's test. Why is it that when the Arab armies get together, suddenly there's Achdus in Am Yisrael? Lama? Why do we need them to remind us that we really are one? And that we're always Jews? Purim comes and stops you and says, guys, don't wait for those extreme moments in life to make you realize what life's all about. For instance, Shalom Neda, like we said last week before. When are moments in life that startle us the most and that we get serious health checks or mental checks about what our life's all about? When, God forbid, someone we love very much gets diagnosed with something horrible. And then we get the gut check. Oh, okay. So now I really need to get my act together, right? Reb Nosson of Breslov says, the tachlis of a person in this world is to want to know his tachlis on the level of always, meaning that nothing crazy should have to wake him up in order to want to be connected to the meaningful things in life. When the mundane, when just the everyday gives me a drive to be connected to Kedusha, to be connected to seriousness. I bless us all, Chevra. And please finish this piece on your own. I give us all such a deep bracha, and give me a bracha back. That Purim should make us into Emes Dika Yidden, real Jews, real Jewish people. Jewish people wake up in the morning and the first word they say is Modeh. Is I admit today, I admit tomorrow, I admitted yesterday. Without you giving an Ashmi and a Shama back into my body, I'm nothing. If I stop to think about what I mean when I say Moide Ani, the always becomes Kodesh Kodashim. Like we said last night, what Shevet was Mordechai from? Binyamin, Ish Yamini. Okay, so why does the Torah begin, why does the Megillah begin by kind of saying, I don't know, Ish Yehudi, maybe he was from Yehuda. Because Yehudi, it doesn't dafka mean he's from Shevet Yehuda. Maybe he was, maybe he wasn't. It's a different machloket. But a Yehudi, to become Jewish, means that I start my day with Modeh, which means I thank you, but it means I admit that if you didn't want to give me a new life right now, it wouldn't exist. Let's not wait for Kriyas Yamsus to turn us on to God, because that doesn't turn God on so much. The fact that we're sitting around a table, no, you know what? That only happens once a week, so that's not so special. That's not so special. That thing which happens every single day in your life, go find God there. Go find yourself there. Don't wait for Purim. Don't wait till you're drunk. A serious tshuva is, I'm not waiting till I'm out of my mind to connect to this stuff. If that's what's going to happen to me when I'm intoxicated, how much more sweeter is it when I don't even need anything? When I'm just flying on God. Only for one reason. Because it's always there. You know, the word in Hebrew for eternity is Netzach. Netzach is the Gematria Nachman. A real consolation in our lives, the Nachman, the Nechama that we're all looking for, is those things that are Netzach. Chuasam, Hayisala, Netzach. Purim is about eternity. It doesn't just mean the victories are eternal, it means that every day is eternal. For some people, finding bliss in the always is a much greater victory than beating 7 Arab nations. Yismach Yisrael be'oisav b'nei Tzion yagilu b'malkam. We should have such gila verina this coming Purim, because to realize what it means to be a Jew is the greatest simcha in the world. So everyone should have a good, sweet, high, exalted, fill in the blank, geschmack, if you want to sound frum, everything. It should just be real. And just know, Chavra, the day after Purim is really the test of Purim, like we said. Not Purim. Purim is just a hachana for how the rest of the year is going to be. Bezrat Hashem, this is the year. This is it. It's no more time. It's Purim anyway. 100,000 Jews got together yesterday in New York to talk about what's happening here in Eretz Yisrael. That's Purim. It can only happen in a week where Purim exists. Baruch Hashem. Good Purim, everyone. Thank you for coming. And Bezrat Hashem, next week Shiur won't be on Monday because it's Shushan Purim next week, Monday. If there will be Shiur, we'll let you know about it. If it's going to be on Tuesday or Wednesday or Thursday, but for now, not on Monday. I'm going to be sending out please look at the Sochat Shover piece from last night. It's very important, very, very strong. And we're going to be davening Ma'ariv right now over here.